The medical term for missing periods is amenorrhea. It's basically the absence of a menstrual period. Usually, medically, we start studying this when you miss more than 3 in a row, but just missing one, it's considered amenorrhea. Or can also be considered not having the first period after the age of 15, because that's a very common question. When is it too late? I mean, when do I have to worry if I never got my first period? So 15 ages or older, I mean years or older, it's basically the number we use. Well, of course, the causes, number one, very obvious, pregnancy. So that's the reason why you go to the doctor and you say, okay, I'm skipping periods and I haven't had my period in 2 months. Of course, the first thing we are going to do is a pregnancy test, because of course, maybe that's normal for you, but eventually that might be a pregnancy and we have to make sure. So that's number one. Number two, it's breastfeeding. Breastfeeding is also very common. So it's normal for women who are breastfeeding to miss periods. Actually, not having periods might actually happen also. And it's considered normal, especially if the breastfeeding is constant, which means probably 4 or 5 times a day, and it's the exclusive way of feeding your child. So if you're giving only breastfeed, probably that's when this might happen. Of course, I'm going to talk about this in another webinar because this is also a very interesting topic. Another cause for that is the menopause, and it might be also obvious, but of course for women, this is something that will happen, but they're not sure when. So of course, if you're used to getting your period every month and suddenly you start skipping periods, then you're not really sure if you have a problem or you're getting into menopause, because you don't know if it's going to happen at 35, 40, 45. Usually you hear that's after 45 or 50, but it can happen before that. So that's one of the causes. In those periods of life, like the first and the last menstruation, the periods start to be irregular. Medications and pills, of course, are very, very common cause for this, especially contraceptives. Oral contraceptives are the most common pills to cause this, and also injections, or any hormonal medicine might cause it, including thyroid medicine. Being abnormally thin, and it's very related with exercise. Why? Like I always say in my other webinars, the body is very wise, so it will not lose blood if you're already very weak. So people having, for example, anorexia or any other condition which might lead you to dangerously low body weight, well, the body doesn't have it's not gonna lose that amount of blood because it might be dangerous for you, so they stop having periods. And of course, this happens also with exercise. If a woman in this case is exercising too much, certain hormonal changes might occur, and then as a result, the whole period disappears. But of course, you have to think in the cycle, like I was telling you, to actually understand what's going on. So basically, what you're going to see that's very common in today's webinar are hormonal changes and hormonal reasons for this, because that's the core of the menstrual cycle.